What's up YouTube, Gabby Check This Gadget, and I'm coming to you with my impressions of the S7 Edge. Now, I did have the original S6 Edge, and I loved it. It was a great compact phone, and I just love the way the curved edges feel. And I'm going to feel the same about this one. Basically, Samsung kept the physical look of the phone the same, which is great because the S6 was great phone overall, and just made, a couple little minor adjustments here and there. One thing they did was this year, instead of having plus versions, they did the S7 Edge as the bigger version with the 5.5-inch screen, and then they have the S7 with the lower, not lower in quality, but the smaller 5.1-inch screen. So there's not going to be any plus, and I think that's a good thing because Samsung tends to, in the past, have come out with a lot of products in a short amount of time, and I feel like that sometimes can confuse the consumer. So I think by them simplifying it like this is a good thing. One of the big changes that I like that they did on this S6 Edge is that they made it thicker. They made it thicker to fit a bigger battery in here. It's like a 34, 36 milliamp, somewhere in between there. But by them making it thicker, it made it's much more comfortable to hold in the hand. That was my only thing last year with the phone is it felt a little, the edges were a little narrow, and so sometimes it didn't feel as comfortable here along your palm to hold in the hand. But I can definitely say the S6 Edge, the S7 Edge, is much more comfortable to hold this year. Feels good in the hand. I couldn't blame you if you wanted to just take this phone out without a case. I mean, especially if you have like this gold model here, because this looks really good and sophisticated. And it feels good in the hand, and like I said, that curved glass as your thumb runs over it feels good. Now it is going to be a fingerprint magnet, as you can see here. You can see the oil on there already, so if that annoys you, you might want to get a scan for the back of it at least. But other than that, the phone definitely feels really good to hold in the hand. I probably recommend just getting at least a sleeve, like this, if you want to carry it naked. I just like some type of protection. It's not very thick at all, just some type of protection. But I'll show you at the end of the video how I look with a case if you're curious. So let's do some size comparisons of the phone. So I'm going to do the iPhone 6s. Now, this is a smaller screen, 4.7, but you can see here, of course, wider, and of course, just taller. Just give you the quick. But let's do it to an Android phone, which is much more important considering these both Android devices. So you can see here, now this LG V10 is a 5.7-inch screen, so just slightly bigger. So you can see it's wider there. And then basically the S7 Edge fits in the V10 minus this whole upper lip. If it stops right there above the upper lip. So, and of course it's thinner. But, much more smaller screen size. And you're just sacrificing, 0.2 inches. So, I would take that as far as form factor. Because this phone is too, I wouldn't want this as my everyday go-to phone. That's why I have the smaller iPhone 6s, because that's my everyday go-to phone. It's just comfortable when I'm at the grocery store. It's just more easy for me to take in and out of my pocket and to move around with. Whereas this LG V10 is too big. But if I had the S7 Edge with its 5.1-inch screen, I would feel that I can whip this out and make it my little everyday phone, because the form factor, while it is a bigger screen, the form factor, the footprint of it makes it feel smaller, which is more comfortable. And so I would be comfortable with, keeping this as my everyday phone while I have to whip out at the grocery store, and comfortable taking in and out and doing everything just like I do on my iPhone 6s. So let's talk about some things I like with the phone. So Samsung made this change where they have while the phone is asleep, it'll show you the date, your battery life, the time, and it will show you notification like if you had a missing text message. It'll show like a little envelope and a number next to it. You can't read what the text message says, kind of like the V10 with their second bar up here with the notifications, but I really like this feature here. You still do have your like ticker screen over here. I never can really figure out how to get it to activate. I usually activate it accidentally, but that does work because I accidentally turned it on. So you remember last year how this can be like its own little feed edge? That still does work. Like I said, I never could figure out how to get it on, and because I didn't really use it too much, I never figured out how to learn to turn it on. Getting into the software, it is coming with Marshmallow, but of course it still has the typical TouchWiz, Samsung TouchWiz on top of it. So, you know, nothing's changed much there. I think Samsung might have changed one or two icons. I feel like I don't remember that camera being green last year. Not the camera, the calculator icon being green last year. So they, you know, they just make very small, minor changes like that, but nothing too big. So if you're familiar with Samsung, you know what to expect from the software when it comes to that. But two things I like about this phone is they made some changes with the camera, and they made it perform very good in low light circumstances. So the camera, this is supposed to be really good with low light. And I took a picture on my LG V10. I took a picture on here. Let me pull the picture up on here. So basically, to set the shot up for you, I turned the light off in my room. All I had was the TV on, and I tried to wait till the TV had like light things on the screen, not like a dark screen, to, you know, get some light in the room. And this is what turned out. So as you can see here, my LG V10 just did not capture the picture very well at all. You can barely see what's in the picture. You can barely see the details. This is just a non-usable image to me. Whereas here on the S7, you can see the picture pretty clear, considering I had the lights turned off and this is just light coming from the TV. You can see everything up here. And if you're wondering why is this stacked like this, this is basically my little shopping haul for my little couponing week. So that's all I had got for this week. So that's why it's looking like that. But you can just tell this is just a way big difference as far as when it comes to the low light. So you can clearly see that the S7 Edge is just fantastic in low light compared to these other devices out here. And I thought I had took one on my iPhone, but I guess I didn't. I wish I did, but I guess I didn't. But you get the idea. I think between the LG V10, considering how much they ran and raved about that camera, and I do love the V10 camera, don't get me wrong, you can definitely see how Samsung stepped this game up with the camera for the low light performance here on the S7 Edge. So that's really good. Now, the other thing I really like about this Edge is the new Edge slider bar. So last year, you see how many dots you have down here? You can have up to 5 different pages. Last year, you were only allowed to have 2. And last year, it was basically the same thing here with the app's Edge, except you only had 1 row icons. You can only have 5. Now you can have 10 shortcuts to your apps. And then they had the people's one. So now they have much more, and I'll show you all that. So let's just go with what they have here right now. This one, we have a Task Edge. So these will allow you to do certain tasks. So if we add here, you can see these different quick tasks it allows you to do. So think of this like kind of like how Apple was doing with the 3D touch, where you know do the 3D touch and then it pops up like the little menu to do that, take a selfie. Think of this Task Edge as that same type of thing, of shortcuts to do specific things in the apps. So if you instantly want to go to the calendar to create, you can just do that versus, you know, going to the calendar and then clicking that. People's Edge, this was here last year. This is new with the news edge. This is cool. Just gives you a quick snapshot of some top stories. Now, if you do want to read the story, you will have to open up your browser and all that. But it's just, you know, I guess it's kind of cool to have it there. Keep in mind, you do still have your smart brief over here for all your news stories too. So that's something there. And while I'm showing you this, you can see how I have this bar here. That's the area you have to swipe in to get the edge side to activate. Otherwise, you know, it just swipe through the pages. And I'll show you, you can change that. I'll show you that in just a minute. So Yahoo News, and then you have weather. So we click here. This is going to show you all the different type of edge panels. So we got the news one, that's the weather one. You got music. This one's like for some icons or something. Stocks, sports, campus. I'm not sure what this one is right here exactly. I'm not 100% sure, so I'm not gonna just guess right now because I haven't played with that one. And then you got like the calendar stuff right there. And then you can change where you want this bar to be at. I prefer it at the bottom. That's just where my thumb rests. I feel like it's just a stretch of my hand to try to reach all the way to the top. You can change the transparency of it to how much you want to see it. I think it's by default set at 30%. You can make it small if you want to, or large. I just like to have it large so I can make sure I, you know, get it in position. Then you can have it on the left side of the phone if you want to. So that is an option. So that is that's basically my two favorite parts of the Samsung S7 Edge. Now let me show you what it looks like in a case. So I just got this little basic portfolio case. So this is what it looks like in a case. If you can imagine the wallet part on there and just look at it with a case, this is what it would look like ideally. Only thing I don't like with a case when it comes to the edge is it affects the way it affects basically the curved edge. What I mean by that is when you go to swipe in, my fingers now running over the case, so I'm not getting that full silky smooth. I'm getting like the top of the curve. I'm not getting the full curve feel. I'm getting that top of the curve, and it just takes away from, you know, the great feel of it. You know, it doesn't affect, you know, getting to your edge screen here, but it just takes away from the feel. So personally, last year when I carried my S6 Edge, I did not have it in a case just because I liked it, that feel of the phone, of the Edge. So what I did was, like I showed you earlier, was I just carried it in something like this. If you do want a case to protect the edges, I would assume that Samsung's coming out with their official case just like they did last year, where they have the case that basically just covers the corners and the back, and then like your edge is completely open. So I would just get that case and get like a sleeve. I just hate carrying phones like completely naked, especially if I'm out. You're gonna be walking around and you might need to carry it out, pull it out while I'm at the store on concrete or something like that. So that's why I like to at least have a sleeve. But this one's so beautiful. I won't want to put an edge on it. Like I said, it affects the best part of one of the best parts of the phone, which is feeling that curved edge. It's like, you know, the unique part of the phone. And I want to get the full feel. I don't want to feel the top. I want to get the full feel of the curve, if that makes sense. So I think I touched on everything. Oh yeah, audio quality is good. Now I forgot to test it with the actual speakers. I never really listened to the phone out the speakers, but I did test it with the headphone audio jack. With the headphones in, they do sound good. Definitely louder than the LG V10. Not as loud as the iPhone 6s, but it's like they're close. The iPhone just a little louder, but they're very close. Still sounds good though, quality wise and all that good stuff. But other than that, would I recommend getting this? Definitely, I would recommend getting this over the S7 regular model. It's a bigger screen, but the footprint is not that large. And then definitely, I recommend it because you get this cool little task edge here. You just got to remember to use it. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Check out the links below, and check back later.